pumped up for one game. We would talk crap for like one game, and then we would be like, all right, time to lose to Newcastle. Yeah, and so like that. But this year, we went into every game expecting to win. And last year, if you saw like, what's your prediction for the game against like Watford, we'd be like, all right, 2-2 draw or like a 2-1 loss. Like, we expected to lose. We would win games. We'd always win enough to not get relegated. And I think this year the reason is we beat Tottenham, and the way we beat Tottenham, you saw that we never really scared we're going to lose against Tottenham. And that's what the weird thing was. Usually if we went, like, we go up a goal against, like, Tottenham or y'all or Arsenal, something like that, immediately we're, like, on our back foot. Yeah. We're on our back foot. We're making crap passes. We're escaping by the skin of our teeth. But we scored against Tottenham, and even leading up to that goal, it was, like, a later goal. It was just, we seemed like we knew what we were doing.
That was on the set piece, too, right?
Yeah.
Digne to Calvert.
Digne down to Calvert-Lewin with an absolute rocket of a header. Like, just a...
He climbed. It was...
yeah. He's like 6'3". He's a huge guy. Heading is his thing because he's so active, and he's been taught by Duncan Ferguson, one of the greatest headers ever played for Everton. So I mean, but the way we're winning games this year shows that we're a different team. And even when we lost, like this year when we lost, you could see that Ancelotti had put in a system of play, but some of the players just weren't up to it. It's like playing under Bielsa at Leeds. Everybody, he can put anybody in the game and play his system, but not every player is up to playing his high press system and his high intensity system.
You need the right personnel.
You need the right personnel, and some of the players that we have just aren't the right personnel for it. And that's why I think...
In your starting 11 or after that?
After that. Our starting 11 is perfect for it.
Who are your two go-to center backs, do you think?
Center backs?
Mina and Keane.
Yeah, Mina and Keane right now. Holgate came in. Holgate last year has played out of his mind. Like Holgate last year, the only bright spots we really had last year were defensively, and it was Holgate and Luka Dean. Luka Dean is magic. Like
I say if he's not the best left back in the league, he's definitely top 2.
Yeah,
without question.
And so like it was him, and so like, we had like and Holgate, so we had a left back and a center back, but. A right back, man, like Seamus Coleman, club legend, bought him for like $40,000 from Sligo, and he's been just a stalwart in the back, but he's like 33, 34 now. Yeah. He's injured a lot now, and then our backup for him is John Joe Kinney, who went and played at Schalke last year, played decent, and that's why we brought Sidibe in on loan, because John Joe Kinney just...
He was on loan? I thought he was on loan.
Him. Yeah, he was on loan. And John Joe Kinney just, he's not Premier League good, like for what we need, because our right backs, our outside backs are integral in like all of our like attacking play. And John Joe Kinney doesn't have the crossing to do it. He doesn't really have the speed or the decision making really. And you can see that when he plays, he knows what he's supposed to do, but he knows he doesn't have the skill to do it. And you can see him when he plays just second guessing everything basically. So
what about Nkunku?
Dude, Nkunku, man, this kid's gonna be. It sucks that he comes. So Nkunku he's like 18, 19. It's great, but it sucks at the same time that our left back right now is like he's one of the best in the league, and so he doesn't get those every couple games. But when he played against Newcastle, I want to say he plays against Newcastle, it was you could tell he's a threat on the left.
Competent, yeah.
And he's got speed and he's good at defensively. He's just like Luka Dean. He's got a left foot cross that's second to none almost, and he's attacking. But it sucks he's a left footed guy because.
Could you move one of those two up to a left mid spot? Do you think?
I think
no. You could maybe put him out on right back, but
yeah, but then he's a left.
That's what I don't understand with like modern football is like wing backs are so essential now for teams to like be successful, and you would think that when these guys are coming up, they're like, I should be able to play on both sides in case I need to cover on one side. You know what I mean?
So players like I think there's a select few like Dallo is like that.
Dallo, yeah. If he actually gets played, I mean he's doing well at Milan now.
We were in. Ancelotti really wanted him.
That was very. If he went to Everton, he was going.
I was so happy that we only put him out on a loan because maybe now all he could be like, oh, we do have an attacking right back.
Like, how the hell did you not see that in training? When he had to.
He apparently he was like not fantastic at training. He would like because all United do every once or twice a week they bring in like a Morecambe or a Preston North End and they play 11v11s. Like they do a first team and a second team versus their first team and their second team, and they do that. And he must have just like not been
Or does he not fit the system? Maybe Milan's like playing something different to where he does.
I think they're playing a 5-back. But, I mean, even then, like, he was our bet. Like, that PSG game that everyone is, like, says that was all his best things so far. Like, he was the game changer when he brought him on for Eric Bailly. And he is the reason why we got that penalty at the end. Mm-hmm. So, I don't understand why all of a sudden he got froze out. He had when United came back from lockdown, we had that first game and everyone played great. And then he put on that, like, second team against Norwich. And, Dalot was awful that game. He was, but everyone was like Fred, McTominay. That's why Ollie didn't play anyone else for the rest of that season. So
we've had those players. I mean, we had Ademola Lookman and Idrissa
He's
Gueye.
looking good at Fulham
right? And so like a lot of these players were victims of Marco Silva and like
victims.
and like Everton right now, you're seeing this kind of now. We moved a good bit of them, but we're victims of the fact that we hadn't found we were taking risks on too many managers. So we took a risk on Roberto Martinez, Ronald Koeman, and Marco Silva. And so you have this like this patchwork of players who these coaches brought in that
we know the feeling.
Yeah, that just weren't good enough. Mm-hmm. And so we had like a Morgan Schneiderlin who we sold for like $2 million to like some French, like I think it was Rennes or something, some terrible French team. We have, and then like Ademola Lookman and Idrissa Gueye, like we would have bit our arm off for Idrissa Gueye last year because he's what we needed. Because we didn't have a true like midfielder, like a stopping midfielder.
He's a PSG now, right?
Yeah, he's a PSG, and we didn't have that, and so, but we're looking at it now, and so we kind of have to rebuild because our midfield was trash. We had this patchwork of players who are all basically did the same thing, and then Tom Davies, who is slower than Christmas. So like we had this weird patchwork, but you see Ademola Lookman actually playing really good for Fulham right now. Mm-hmm. And Guy was playing great at PSG to the point where Premier League teams were looking at him again. It was like Arsenal were looking at him, a couple people were looking at him this year. And it's just like, we saw that and we're like, it kind of sucks. It's like what could have been because if Marco Silva wanted to come in. Marco Silva, I think, was kind of one of the things that kind of kicked the ownership in the ass. And was like, this dude's not a good manager. And if we had kept him after he had that terrible form, we were in relegation spots when he got let go. Okay. If we didn't let him go, there's a non-zero chance that Everton could have been like in the championship either like this year he playing the championship or like next year, like because we're not making any strides. We were so he seemed like he was so content just to be in 10th, and he was just fine with that. And so
y'all probably wouldn't have got Carlo without Silva though, having Silva like
we wanted Carlo. I watched something the other day and it was Marcel Brands and a lot of the ownership have been courting Carlo for a while. Like they wanted Carlo there before we got Marco Silva, but he wouldn't come.
That's such a Hail Mary for Everton.
Exactly. And that's the thing is it was when Everton got Carlo, it kind of like the Premier League kind of took notice because you look at where it was going at the time because so Arsenal got Arteta, Chelsea got Lampard, two club borderline like Arteta club legend, and so
it seemed to be like the fad last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when Duncan was on the coaching staff and then Marco left. And that was one of the things that no matter what happened, Duncan always had to be on the coaching staff because he wanted to be a coach of a team. Everton or somebody wanted to be a coach of a team. Mm. And when he got made caretaking manager and we beat Chelsea 3-1 and we had a couple runs of games there, we weren't scared, but we were aware of the fact that
it wasn't here to stay.
Well, no, we were aware of the fact that we could have pulled the trigger and made Duncan our manager. That because at first before Arsenal got Arteta, we were rumored Arteta because Arteta played at Everton too and was pretty good at Everton too, and so we were rumored for him and all these players. And then when the Marco rumor started happening, Everton I was like, let's be realistic here, guys. Like it was kind of the same thing when we were rumored for James. Because like when Carlo came, the moment he signed his contract, the rumors started flying that we were going to get like Ibra, we were going to get all these amazing coaches that Carlo had coached, or players that Carlo had coached because he had the connection. And when James happened, it was the same thing. We had the same feeling when they were rumored to get Carlo. Like, let's be realistic, guys. We're not going to get James Rodriguez. Then the rumors kept going, and we were like, this is going to be the inevitable, like, we're going to get him, and then, like, Arsenal pick him up. Or, like, some other big club picks him up. And when Carlo was happening, we're like, guys, let's be realistic. We're going to get Haas and Huddle. We're going to get another Southampton manager. We have like 3 Southampton managers. We're going to get one of them.
Haas and Huddle was not a bad manager, though.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
And he's doing great. He's still doing great at Southampton. But we were like, we're either going to get a Haas and Huddle type player or a coach where he's at a Southampton, he's at a Norwich, like something like that, or a club at a different Premier League club, or we're going to get Duncan Ferguson. And that was kind of all we thought we were going to get. And then when Ancelotti was like seriously rumored, everybody was like, all right, well, let's still be realistic. And then he was confirmed. And that's when everybody was like, all right, we kind of had this thing. We never had a world-class coach. So, like, all the coaches we've had, we've never had a world-class coach.
Years. Since
the 80s. Since, like, we had, like, Howard. We had all those guys.
David Moyes.
Yeah, and Moyes. Like, so last time we were solidly good. I mean, we had some times under Roberto Martinez where we made, like, Europa League and whatnot, but that's just basically because he had Lukaku. But, and that team that was one of the last times where it was fun to be an Everton fan because we had Ross Barkley, James McCarthy, Romelu Lukaku, Gerard Deulofeu, like, all these players that were, like, and, like, we had John Stones, we had all these players that were good players. And it was fun to watch Everton that year. Mm-hmm. And I remember that was like one of the first years I was at college. I was sitting there watching it. And like Everton played. Also, it was like y'all. And I was watching it and blatantly going for Everton. And then everybody kind of was like, why are you going for Everton? And I was like, I ask myself that same question every like 3 weeks. Because it's like, we played great. We would play great. We beat Man U that year. We beat Man City that year. We beat Man City like 5-2 or 5-0, I want to say. We murdered Man City. And that was like the year. I was like, it was the year they won the Premier League. And we beat all these teams, but it was, again, that feel of, yeah, we beat them, but let's calm down. We got Newcastle next week, and we all know Andy Carroll's about to come out here and score a double on us. But, like, Moyes was that one of the last ones, and I think that Moyes was a victim of the just, like, legendary status of Alex Ferguson, and that he had the unfortunate job of following up Alex Ferguson,
the best manager.
Yeah, the best manager to ever live.
Yeah. And you're never gonna.
And it's like
step into an impossible pair of shoes.
It's like the person who's going to replace like Nick Saban or who's going to replace Belichick. Yeah. Like it's that coach is going to get run through the ringer because
the thing that with Moyes though is that he came into like a championship winning team.
Yeah,
like, and he just did so poorly.
And I think so. Moyes, to me, what Moyes reminds me of, or who reminds me of Moyes, is OGS, and the fact that Moyes, you went from Alex Ferguson, who had the pulling power of like a nation, like he could get any player he wanted because he would walk in and be like, "I am Sir Alex Ferguson. I think you're the next big thing. Come play for like Man U," and the next day they would sign a contract.
Yeah,
and Moyes went in there, and Moyes didn't have that pulling power because he was just known for being the person who had Everton top 4, top 5, like every year,
yeah,
like top 5.
Players are probably like sitting back waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, and so I think that's what happened with OGS is the fact that y'all have Mourinho, and Mourinho has that global name where like people know who Jose Mourinho is, and then he left, and they put OGS in there, and OGS doesn't have the pulling power, and that's why I think that like y'all have had trouble getting players. It's not because like I think most of it is your board. Most of it is
100%.
Yeah, it's most your because I mean
look at but like to like be devil's advocate to your point is like look at Chelsea. Frank Lampard should not have any pull, and he brings in Werner, Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic,
he's got shady oligarch money behind him too.
But then that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I think in modern football, it's more about the money that it is the manager. Like the manager's going to be like, I want that guy, and it's whether or not the player like gets the money.
I think you have to have the manager first though, and like Lampard though, while he's not that, everybody knows who Frank Lampard is. Like if you played soccer and you are at the age where you're playing soccer right now, like becoming a player, like you're 18, 19, 23, like all that shit where you're buying those players, you watched a game with Frank Lampard play. And also Chelsea had that transfer ban where Abramovich couldn't spend any money. Ban where Abramovich couldn't spend any money really, and so he
signed Kovacic and Pulisic.
But he was sitting there. But think about what he would have done if there wasn't that shadow ban, whatever you want to call it. Is he would have been dropping dimes constantly. Yeah. So he kind of had that money like just saved up to just blow. But like OGS, the thing is like the state of the club right now? Are y'all in such turmoil?
We've had it's OGS. I mean, think about the 3 managers we've had prior, all of higher managerial staff.
Yeah,